Okay.
Going? We good?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode number 20 of Present Company Included. I'm Chris Grego.
I'm DJ Wilder. What's going on, Chris?
Not too much, and this is a different scenario, a different setup. We are not in the man cave. We are actually worlds apart. I happen to be in an undisclosed location out of state. I cannot give because of government secrets. I'm not allowed to give away my location.
You think that you're just that important, don't you?
Well, I don't think I'm that important. Government thinks I'm that important. That I can't give away my location, so I have to keep up this ruse of just a payroll HR guy by day. So yeah, we're actually on a Zoom, and fingers crossed everything goes well, and we'll put this actual recording up on YouTube so people can actually see what I look like. My Michigan hat my bill got messed up in the travel. So my bill is messed up a little bit on my hat. It kind of on the right side, it tilts a little bit. I don't like it. I don't like the look of it. I appreciate you going hatless. I didn't want to go hatless.
Yeah, it's we're still drowning our sorrows over here in the land of Hawkeye Nation. It's
yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to be gentle because I do understand it's probably still too soon to mock and to gloat. But I don't normally do that anyway because I'm
that's not
pessimistic.
That's not you at all. So
I usually, if pushed, if my back's against the wall, I will come out insulting and mocking. So yeah, we will talk a little bit about college football, talk a little bit about what's been going on for us as far as this week is concerned. So I'll start with you. What happened this week for you? Anything good? Anything bad that you want to talk about?
Well, just had some. I've been having a problem with neurological issue in my left foot, and I had some testing done on that this week, and it has been determined that my big toe on my left foot I have little control over, and it stems from an issue with my L5. Not to get too deep into the woods here, but I've got a bit of a nerve impingement, and the best course of action is to try to exercise the core muscles to try to straighten everything out so that the impingement relieves itself. And they don't feel like surgery is something that's necessary at this time. And as long as I have shoes on, it really doesn't affect anything. So I can walk fine, and I'm bowling okay, not the best, but any teammates that hear this now knows why I'm struggling the way I am this year. So other than that, nope, we had a big get together yesterday for the start of what I like to call the official college football season, because the Big Ten started finally. So, and that rolled right into a 50th birthday party for a cousin of mine. So we had a pretty big day here at the Man Cave Studios in the house on 8th Street or 9th Street. So
as we circle back to your toe.
Okay.
And are you wearing a shoe when you sleep?
No. Nope. That's the only, as long as I'm not walking around, I can take my shoes off. But if I walk around, it has a tendency to fold under, and I can trip over it. Right. So,
well, I was just thinking about if you were to have, you are getting up there in age, if you have that middle of the night urge where you have to get up and run to the bathroom, if you had that one shoe on.
Well, first of all, there's no running anywhere, right?
Okay, as you sashay to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Well, I don't want you to have any problems. So maybe you should consider sleeping with just one shoe on, maybe like a moccasin or something like that. But the good news is that I was hoping that you wouldn't say they had to amputate your toe.
But there's no
discussion of that at all.
At this time, there's no discussion of amputation. However, if this lingers for very long,
if you did get your toe amputated, would you just leave it off, or would you try to get a They may be like a bionic toe.
Are we really going down this road?
I have a serious question about what would you just leave it there, or would you put something
I
like
probably,
put a thumb there?
I probably, I would probably not amputate to begin with. And if
Well,
that
I mean,
was,
we're talking about the absolute worst case scenario where it
okay,
did have to come off. What would you do?
so probably just cut it off, and it would just be, I would be a four-toed person on my left foot.
So then could we then change your nickname to Four Toe Wilder instead of Five Toe, which we call you now?
Apparently, the travel that you had yesterday has caused you to have
Jet
some
lag.
disconnection in the brain. No, we can't call me Four-Toe Wilder.
Four Toe Wilder.
No.
Well, I believe even though it's not, you're still going to have five toes, I believe now, as you decided that you guys would call me Lovey on last week's episode.
That's right.
Start calling you Four Toe Wilder.
Okay. Well, we got to do what we got to do. So
yeah, I mean, desperate times. My week this week was really taken up. My headspace was taken up with moving and getting all of that done, and then had to do some physical work on Friday, but had some help with some family that helped out, and so we got everything moved on Friday, and it only took a couple hours to get all my stuff moved. But that's one of the nice things about being a minimalist, is that you don't have a lot of things that I had to worry about. And
right.
I have a very small amount of plates, a very small amount. I only have 3 forks because at the most 3 people would eat with me and the 2 kids. So why do I need more? But I found out that I do need more. And so I didn't have a lot of stuff. So it was a very, very easy move, but the transition into the new apartment and went from everything having something in the space where I was to now there's just a lot of open area.
Yeah.
So now I have to unfortunately spend money to fill in those spaces, which is what we tend to do. Like there's a gap over there. I've got to fill it with something. So now I'm going to buy something and put it in there.
I think you should buy more forks, because at some point you're going to be kind enough to invite me over for dinner, and I don't want to have to bring my own service.
You know what? That's a very good point. And I will have a fork just for you. I'm going to put Four Toe Wilder on it. Get it engraved, Four Toe Wilder. This is DJ.
From Lovey.
Yeah, from Lovey.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you got all moved in and things are going good for you on that end. That's awesome to hear. So
yeah. So mentally, I think things are going to be a little bit different. I don't have to worry so much about that now. And I'm moved. The kids are moved. Everything is good on that front. So now it's just a matter of coming off this vacation that I'm on and going back to work and all of that stuff, and that new set of stress when I get back.
Now, when you get back, will you be heading back to the office, or you still be working from home?
No, I'm going to start going back to the office.
Okay.
When I get back. And a lot of the reason for staying home was, because I was going to be traveling because I went out of state, and wanted to make sure that, that plan didn't get changed by, the potential for catching COVID from
right.
a couple people that did have it from our office. So,
okay.
So everything's good there. So let's, the elephant in the room, let's get to it. Okay. I know you want to talk about it because that's who you are, but I know that you're probably not as happy talking about it as however you predicted it.
I did.
So you did predict it. You were correct. I picked Iowa. Quentin picked Iowa. Have you talked to Quentin about the Iowa Hawkeye football game?
He was in the room with me yesterday when we were watching this, and right after the second fumble, he looked back at me and he says, "We're going to lose this game." And I go, "Yeah, we are. You can't overcome 2 crucial fumbles and 100 yards in penalties on the road with a first-year quarterback. Those things, it's just the deck was stacked against him." Spencer Petras, I thought, played well. I thought early in the game he looked like a new quarterback. I think he settled in. I was very impressed to see him throw balls up that might have been 50-50 balls and giving his receivers an opportunity. Not something that we see a lot from Hawkeye quarterbacks. So although saddened by the loss, I am intrigued for the future. I do think that Iowa always does a real good job between weeks 1 and 2 of correcting the wrongs. And they clearly have a lot of wrongs right now, but we kind of expected that. The defense, there clearly hasn't been a whole lot of contact practices because the tackling was horrible.
Yeah, I think people are going overboard with the social distancing thing.
You think they're going overboard?
Yeah, nobody wants to get close enough to tackle anybody. They got to stay there 6 feet away. So if a guy's running down the sidelines, you know what? I'm just going to trail him, keep my distance. Obviously, that was a joke that fell flat.
No, it wasn't even that. I mean, there were times where we had them wrapped up and just didn't bring them to the ground. It's almost like they thought, well, I got a hold of you, so you're going to fall now. No, you got to bring them down.
Do you think that Iowa is regretting getting rid of their strength coach? No.
I think the positives outweigh the negatives there. They'll figure it out. Like I said, this is typical Iowa first week. You know, we see them lose to North Dakota State. We see them struggle in the first game against Illinois State or whoever. It's not ever a clean game the first game, and that's what happened yesterday. And it just so happened to be against a Big Ten team instead of a mid-major or Division I AA team. And you just, I think Nate Stanley would have struggled to come back from the type of mistakes that they were making yesterday. So have that game to be a one-score game, yeah, I called it. I did, and it basically kind of played out like I thought it would. They looked rusty. They looked out of sorts. There was a lot of times that Amir Smith-Marset looked back at Petrus like, well, you know, there was no communication there, and there was no, they're just not connecting yet. And it'll come. And that's kind of what I thought would happen. It played out the way I thought it would. I was hoping for a victory. I was hoping that once we went up 20-17 or 20 to whatever it was, that we could hold it off. And it looked like we were starting to move the ball, and then that fumble happened. And that second fumble is almost like you saw it just leave their bodies, like, well, there we go. We're not going to be able to stop this. And they weren't. So I'm okay with what the future holds for this team. I think it looks promising, and I look forward to next Saturday when Northwestern comes to town.
So did at any point, did you think when you heard the news that Rondale Moore wasn't going to play for Purdue, the head coach had caught a case of the COVID, wasn't going to be on the sideline? Was there any point where you thought that your pick was going to be wrong?
Yes. Yeah, I slept really, really well Friday night knowing that Rondale wasn't going to be in the game. But at the same time, I was still pretty apprehensive because of the things that I was concerned about for Iowa's standpoint. I didn't expect 10 penalties for 100 yards. I didn't care how new these guys were. I just felt like that was always something that was controlled coming into the season. That was something that they had taken care of, and it wasn't there. They were just jumpy, making very crucial mistakes at very crucial times. And but yeah, Rondale not being there, the coach not being on the sidelines, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to be happy about it. And today I'm going the other way and going, well, I called it, but it had little to do. It probably would have been worse if Rondale had been on the field. So,
well, I think the Hawkeyes did make the receiver from Purdue, Bell, look like he was an All-American.
Yes. Yep. It's at some point someone's got to say, hey, why don't we guard number 3? Because the quarterback wasn't looking anywhere else.
Yeah, well, he didn't need to.
Yeah, why should he? So
yeah.
They'll get those. I firmly believe that they'll get those things fixed. And I think 4-4 is still hugely on the table. I think that by the time they play somebody like a Minnesota, who we'll get to in a second, they'll have a lot of these things figured out, fixed. And I'm sure ball security is going to be a big point of emphasis at this week's practices. And holding your water for the offensive line, no offsides or legal procedures or anything like that. So we'll get it fixed. It'll be fine. 4-4 is still on the table, and I'm still going to stick by that.
I made the prediction. Obviously, we talked on the last episode about our potential sleeper and our overrated. And though my two choices obviously played in the opening game on Friday night, and I have to say, even though it's just one game, I think I'm way off. Way off. Illinois couldn't get out of their own way. You playing again, you allow a quarterback to have 1 or 2 incompletions, throwing over 20 attempts in a game. When you allow that to happen, that is, I don't know if Wisconsin is that good and Illinois is that bad. And I know that you said, well, it's one game, not really a barometer for how the season is going to go. However, based on what I watched, I think it is that. I think Illinois is going to be that bad, and I think Wisconsin is going to be that good. So in that spot, I was off in my predictions.
Unfortunately, I was unable to watch that game, but the stat line that I read seemed to play out just what you just said. Yeah, Wisconsin potentially could be that good, and Illinois is still that bad. And again, I think it was a memory game for Wisconsin. I think it was more about you guys embarrassed us last year, so we're going to go ahead and turn around and embarrass you this year, and that might have been some of it. But at the end of the day, I do think you're right. I think Wisconsin's just that good, and Illinois just isn't there yet.
Yeah, so I was off on that prediction. I also missed the Hawkeye Purdue game. I did select the Hawkeyes to win that one. And the game that I missed, another game that I missed, was obviously Indiana Penn State. And I don't know anybody that picked Indiana in that game. However, you said that Indiana may be
a
sleeper team, and you may be correct. So, but I didn't get to watch any of that game. I just simply saw, I was checking the scores when I got the opportunity, and kept seeing that Indiana Penn State's close. And I thought, well, Indiana always ends up shooting
something. Yep.
And they're going to let something happen. But then I look and they're in overtime, and I go, oh my goodness. And then Indiana wins. However, the call at the end of the game, I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah. Watched it live. I saw that play live.
That's a iffy call. That's a tough call to lose on. However, Penn State, James Franklin, a little disappointed about it. However, Penn State, when you're a big favorite like they were, you know what? Just shut up, go to the locker room. Mm-hmm. We lost. Let's do something this week in practice to get better. Let's not say, well, this call ruined. You know what? That.
Yeah. Don't put yourself in that position. If you're a double-digit favorite,
yeah,
it shouldn't come down to a 2-point conversion in overtime.
There's no reason for that. Also, I missed Rutgers, Michigan State. I think I missed every Big Ten game. Rutgers, Michigan State. I did not see Rutgers coming out like that and playing. You're right. You told me this. I texted you and said, don't sleep on Rutgers, and you settle down. It's MSU. However, and like I said, MSU was a 14-point favorite at home. And again, no fans, but at home against, you're a 14-point favorite at home. You shouldn't get the doors blown off of you by Rutgers. Mm-hmm. Rutgers' right. First win in 2021?
21 Big Ten games.
21 Big Ten games, and it's their first win, and they pummel you. And so I don't know if Rutgers is much better than we thought. MSU is much worse than we thought. I'm not sure how to read that particular game.
I think that we could look up and down the Big Ten slate yesterday and say that exact thing. I'm not sure where these teams are yet. We're not sure that Rutgers is that good, but we can pretty much say Michigan State is probably that bad, yes. if not worse. Illinois, Wisconsin is probably that good, but Illinois is probably that bad. The Iowa-Purdue game, I don't know where either of those teams really are yet. I think it's too early to tell.
I think it looks to me like they may both be a 4-4 team.
Yep.
I can say that. One thing that I did see that, yeah, Ohio State. Yeah, they are that good. They are.
They are. I don't disagree, but there were things in that game, like the first drive for Nebraska was 4 plays, 80 yards, all done by quarterbacks.
Yeah,
So
but that didn't happen the rest of the game. So
no, it didn't.
Ohio
And
State made that adjustment. And I did see Ryan Day apologize for, I air quote, running up the score. He had to apologize for a TD at the end. That
I saw that on the ticker when I was watching the Minnesota Michigan game last night, and I haven't seen it yet, but
I don't know if it was second string on second string, if it was, I don't know who was in the game, but I've always been disappointed when your backups come into a game and their responsibility is to come in and just run the ball or to take knees or whatever. Give them the opportunity. You put your second team defense in and give them the opportunity to play the game as if it's 0-0.
Right.
I've always been a big fan of that. And so anybody who has to apologize for scoring, how dare you score at that point? You're already way ahead. Well, let these kids play. They didn't come there to take knees. They didn't come there to fall down. They didn't come to, fall down at the 1 yard line instead of scoring a touchdown, to give somebody an opportunity to come back and win a game. Who was it? Was it the Penn State game that the kid should have fallen down?
Should have fallen down and run the clock out.
Yeah.
In regulation. Yep.
Yeah. But you're a college kid and you're excited and you're like, oh, I see the end zone. I smell it. I can't. Oops.
But you saw him kind of stop and slow down, and then he just stepped in. I'm just going to go ahead and score and count on the defense. And
yeah. What's going through his head at that time? I don't know if it was, but it's obvious at some point it struck him that, hey, I probably should have. Oops.
Oh, too late. Yep. Can't take it back now.
Did it anyway. Yeah.
The one thing that I will say about up and down the board yesterday of the Big Ten games that I probably missed on. I don't think I missed maybe the Rutgers-Michigan State game, but I don't think I missed many other scores. But the one thing that I'm way off on, at least after week one, is the Big Ten being such a defensive conference. The scores yesterday were off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just, you got 36-35. You got
49-24.
49-24. You got 50.
We'll talk about.
Yeah, 50-20 or 50-24, whatever that was at Ohio State, Nebraska. Just tons of points put up on both sides. And I guess I didn't see that coming. So the defense has got to play catch up here. I'm a bit surprised by that. But then again, I go back to, okay, well, they're probably not tackling in practice as much as they normally would to this point. So will it catch up? I hope so, because that's the one part of the Big Ten game I like watching is good, solid defense. And I didn't see it at all yesterday after watching 3 games.
Yeah. And I still, we talked about it and I said so far of what I had seen so far in the college football season, that it appears that if you are an offensive player and you haven't played and you haven't done things in a while, it's like riding a bike. And if you're a defensive player, it's like, I've never ridden a bike before. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to start back with the training wheels. That's what it appears to me, that I don't know if the defense didn't get worked on enough, or coaches all over the country thought, well, the defense is like riding a bike. These kids have been tackling, these kids are playing defense. They've been tackling since they were in elementary school. And so it's second nature to them, but it appears that that's not the case. So, let's talk about Michigan and Minnesota. Yeah. This was a pick where I assumed Minnesota would win because Jim Harbaugh doesn't beat ranked teams on the road. And I don't know if it really was on the road, so to speak. They had to go to Minnesota, but with no fans being there, it wasn't like the quarterback for Michigan couldn't hear anything. It's not like any of that stuff was happening. So this is just basically a mano-a-mano game. And Michigan, this was a pick that I am extremely excited about missing. I will, I much like you probably would have been if Iowa had beaten Purdue. You know what? I'm more than happy to be wrong.
I'll be wrong this time. Yep.
This particular time, I was extremely wrong. I did not see them putting up 49 points on Minnesota. I just didn't see that. Not that Minnesota was a world beater, but Michigan has a new quarterback. They have almost all new receiving core. Nick Eubanks, their number one tight end, doesn't even play. They lost 4 starters on the offensive line. I thought there's no way that they're going to put up. There's no way they're putting up 49 points.
Right.
And they did. So I didn't get to see. I got to where I'm at and got to watch a little bit of on tape delay. And so got to see a little bit of it, but it wasn't at a point where there was a lot of scoring going on. So
Yeah.
I didn't get to see much of it. I got to listen to some of it while I was, waiting in the airport and in the plane, getting ready to take off. As soon as we got in the air, the airline that I flew says, "Oh, here's how you get to the Wi-Fi." So I follow those steps. No, man, that's not available. So I didn't get to do that. So then I would check my phone as we started to land each time. Okay, no service, no service. Okay, no service, no service. Okay, now I got service. Boom, pull it up, listen. So I did get to hear some of it. And of course, when I'm listening to the Michigan broadcast, I'm only hearing things from
Their point of view. Yep.
from Dan Deerdorf, who does the color for Michigan football, alumni for, you know who Dan, you obviously know.
Yeah.
Dan Deerdorf.
Yeah.
He does the color for Michigan football.
I did not know that.
Everything is through the lens and the of Michigan announcers, so you can't always tell what's going on. But it seems like Michigan. I don't know if you got to see much of it, any of it.
Yeah, we had it on. I mean, I still had a party going on, but we had it up on the TV and we are trying to watch some of it. And was it 1 or 2 defensive touchdowns in the first half?
I know one for sure. I did get to hear of one. I might have been 2.
There might have been a second one. I don't remember for sure, but either way, again, things happened yesterday that I don't think anyone could have predicted, and the amount of scoring that happened in the Big Ten across the board was shocking to me. I think, and I look for a lot of defensive coordinators to be getting into some ears of some kids tomorrow. Yeah, today, tomorrow, whatever. As we,
night.
Yeah, that too. So. Yeah, it was that Minnesota game was, well, let me ask, you had questions about the starting quarterback. What did you think? How did you think he played, or from what you could see or what you heard?
From what I was listening to, it was a very good running attack from Michigan.
Yeah.
Which I think was expected. I did not hear, I don't know if something happened to Charbonneau, who was their number one. I saw Haskins had a couple of nice carries. Chris Evans is back, and I know he caught a couple balls out of the backfield. I think Milton's going to be okay. He reminds me a little bit as far as his physical stature, as far as what he does, a little bit of Cam Newton in how he plays and how he's built and that thing, in which, again, my feelings on Cam Newton.
He's the greatest, I know.
I'm not going to deny Cam Newton at Auburn was tremendous. And if Joe Milton could reach that level, that'd be amazing. My beef is with Cam Newton as the guy. So it's not as the player, it's as the guy, which is one of the reasons sometimes why I don't like people, not because of how they play, because I think some guys have been great players, but just absolute turds as human beings. So I think Milton, I think Milton's going to be all right. He does have an unbelievable arm, very strong arm.
Yeah.
I don't know about his accuracy. I think he's almost the same as Petrus from Iowa, where they both can sling it. And I was caught a little bit right before, while I was having a little bit of lunch before we got in the car to drive to the airport, that they were talking about sometimes Petrus throws the ball too hard to receivers.
Yep.
Sometimes. And I think Milton kind of does that a little bit as well. So, 2 new guys, 2 young guys. We'll see what comes of it. But I think Michigan's running it as if their offensive line plays well, they're running it. They have very talented running backs. They've got a lot of speed on the outside, a lot of speed with their
Wow.
wide receivers. Very, very fast wide receivers. Can they catch it? Can somebody throw it to them? Again, the same as I talked about with Iowa, having very talented receivers who throws it to them. Are they accurate? Are they
Right.
going to get the opportunity? Is it going to be a situation where you're maybe targeted 2 times and you're very demonstrative in your huddle and letting your quarterback know, hey, throw it better, throw it to me, you don't see me, whatever the case may be. I heard a little bit about that about Iowa. It might have been one of their receivers. Who's their best receiver? Somebody wasn't targeted yesterday, and it seemed like they had some. I had read somewhere that they thought one of the receivers. It seemed like they had a little bit of an attitude.
It might have been Amir Smith-Marset, number 6. And I mentioned earlier in my breakdown of the game that it just didn't seem like they were on the same page. It seemed like Amir was expecting the ball to be maybe here, but instead it was here. You know, catchable for a senior. It should have been. To me, I'm always been big. If you can get your hands on it, you should catch the ball at this level.
You touch it, you catch it.
Right. So and there were plenty of balls that were off of his hands. Now, were they were exactly where he wanted it or where he was getting it the last 2 years from Nate Stanley? No. But as a senior leader of this team, if he puts it anywhere near you, you've got to go get that ball. And I just feel like that's the situation or that's the scenario that's going to improve as we get further into the season. Those two will start to connect more. I could tell he was frustrated. There were several times that once he missed the throw or missed the catch or whatever, he would turn around and be like, what the hell? And
Sure.
Oh, okay, it's your first start for this quarterback. Give him a break, So I hope he isn't too upset. I'm sure as the game moved on or as it moved away from the game, he kind of started thinking about it. And I'm sure that he's been talked to also about it, if that's indeed what he did. But I don't think that's going to be a huge issue going forward. He does have a lot of targets. He's got Laporta, the tight end, is really, really coming on. You still got Brandon Smith on the other side. You got Reganey in the slot. I mean, there's just a ton of weapons. And then he's going to miss. He's going to miss not only open receivers, but he's going to miss good throws. He's going to miss those accurate throws that sometimes he needs to make. And that's just where we are with quarterbacks these days. They need time. So it'll come.
All right. So do you have a schedule in front of you?
Do I have what now?
Yeah. What happened? Well, what happened was
see what had happened.
Do you have a schedule for next
I
week?
can get one.
Do it.
Well, while I'm doing that, did you happen to see the end of the World Series game last night?
I did not. What happened?
Oh,
I know
boy.
the Dodgers were up 2-1.
Yep.
That's the last I saw. I don't know what happened. What had happened?
So okay, so see again, what had happened was, so they're up 7-6 going in the bottom of the ninth. Dodgers are up.
Okay.
Yep. They get and I don't know names. I can't tell you names of anybody. I haven't paid enough attention. But after the Michigan State or the Michigan-Minnesota game, we went right into that World Series game, and we're watching it. And they get Tampa gets a runner on first, and 2 outs, and one of their major hitters comes up, and they're thinking about walking him to get to the guy behind him that's only batting like sub 200. And someone asked me, what do you think of that? And I said, I wouldn't put the go-ahead run on or the tying run on second, because all it takes is a bloop, a seeing eye ground ball, a muff, whatever, I would just take my chances and pitch to this guy. 2 outs, runner on first. I would just pitch to him. Don't pitch around him to get to the next guy and potentially put the tying run on second. So they don't pitch around him, but they do walk him. It wasn't an intentional, but they do end up walking him. He battled. So now they got runners on first and second, and this 2 outs. The game-winning run is on first now. and this guy that's hitting sub 200 hasn't had a postseason hit, comes to the plate. And he indeed hits not a scorcher to right center, but a well hit ball. It falls in, and the game's going to be tied. Well, the center fielder goes to pick the ball up, and he misses it. So now the guy coming around from first he's going to score. I mean, they're waving him in, and he picks up the ball and goes to throw it in. And by the time the camera zooms down to the catcher, I'm like, the guy should be, at least in the frame. He, rounding third, pulls a Daniel Jones for the New York Giants.
He did. You know what?
And bipped it
in all fairness to Daniel Jones.
Okay, I want to hear the fairness.
We do know that at some point somebody at Buffalo Wild Wings turns on something on the field and makes someone trip. So we know that is a possibility that Daniel Jones got tripped up by somebody at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Well, that same person must have
sprinkler or whatever it was. That was the greatest.
That same person must have worked last night too, because the same thing happened. This guy rounding third just biffs it. So the catcher, he's waiting for the ball, and the guy's bipping it. He stops and he starts to head back. Well, the catcher goes to swipe at the ball and misses. Just completely misses the ball. The ball rolls back. So the guy stops and then just kind of facetiously dives in and just sits there and pats on the plate. Game over, they win. Now the series is tied 2-2.
So what you're describing to me was the scenario at every Little League game.
It did take me back a little bit to Little League or U-Trip tournaments or whatever. Yeah. It was fun to watch. I mean, this guy has, again, this is his first postseason base hit. He scores the game-winning run. He has the RBI, the game-winning RBI, and now the series is tied 2-2. Now we're down to a best of three, and it's awesome to watch. I think I'm so glad that I saw it live, because had I got up this morning and saw what happened, I'd have been like, oh, I was going to watch that, and I didn't. So I'm glad I watched it, because it was very entertaining. But okay, let me get back to what I was doing.
Yeah, let's roll over schedule for next week, and let's get some picks in.
Okay. Have you got yours?
Do you have a good on you this week? I didn't find any.
I didn't. I couldn't come up. I even thought about it yesterday, and I couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah, I don't have a good on you, but in my mind I got some great good on yous, but they're a little bit political. So we're not going to.
Hey, we didn't touch base on Northwestern Maryland. Did you want to talk about 43-3?
Is Maryland that bad? I didn't see the uniforms that Maryland wore. Did they wear the?
I didn't see it either. I don't know. There again, that's just another one of those, I know they talk about in the NFL, the Monday after the first week is overreaction Monday. I kind of feel like we're doing a little bit of that and trying to roll ourselves back a little bit, but
yeah, I don't know that Ohio State is the class of the Big Ten. I don't think we're not wrong there. That's not hyperbole.
No.
I think Iowa and Purdue are going to be middle of the road. I don't think that's blowing things out. I think Michigan, I'm going to stay at 4-4, although I was much more impressed than what I thought it would be. So I don't know that we've gone overboard with what we think. Maybe my reaction to Rutgers beating Michigan State might be a little bit overblown, but
yeah.
We get one.
All right, Friday night, Minnesota at Maryland.
I think Minnesota will blow them out.
I don't know about blowout, but yes. Okay.
49-2.
2,
yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so two solo home runs.
Solo shots. Michigan State comes to the Big House Saturday at 11.
Oh, that's gonna be beautiful. I love those 11 o'clock games where you can roll out of bed, have a little breakfast.
Yep.
Don't have Don't have to put any clothes on other than a hoodie and some short. You didn't let me finish. Hoodie and some shorts with a nice blanket curled up on the couch. Michigan blowout.
Yep. Get it. I agree.
Yeah.
Purdue at Illinois, 11 o'clock, BTN.
Purdue in a tighter one than I think. I'm going to stick with Illinois for one more week. Not going to pick Illinois, but I'm thinking Illinois is going to play better, but I still think Purdue will pull out because now this new quarterback O'Connell, this Irish kid that comes in, and he has Bell as a receiver. Now he's going to have more. Moore is going to be back as well. So now he's going to have Moore and Bell. He's going to have more Bell.
More Bell.
More Bell.
We all need more.
We all need more Bell. And so if Bell can't be covered and they decide, well, now we're going to have to put our emphasis on covering Bell, you're going to have Moore. Moore's back. Well, we're going to have to cover more. They're not going to have enough people.
Right.
So I think Purdue's going to, maybe Purdue ends up being a little bit better, but I think Purdue will beat Illinois. What do you got? You didn't say anything.
I think I'm going to go with Purdue on this one as well. I don't like going 3 for 3. There's no back and forth here, but I think clearly these 3 games are exactly the way we're calling them. This could be a big matchup here. Indiana Rutgers, 2:30 on the BTN.
See, I don't know if Rutgers carries over their MSU game or if they have that big letdown, or if I think both team Indiana would appear by beating Penn State. Indiana looks like they would be the better team. But I think you've got Rutgers, who's coming off an emotional high, Indiana coming off an emotional high. One of them is going to be a letdown. One of them is going to, it seems like they always have that proverbial follow-up of, we just did this. We beat the number 1 team. Our next game,
right.
We shit down our leg. But I'm going to go with Indiana.
I think I'm going to take Rutgers in the simple fact that they did turn MSU over. I believe it was 7 times, and I think they're gonna be able to ride some of that out. And this is going to be one of those games that I don't think, and I say turnovers, but then I'm also going to say somebody's going to have to outscore. I don't get the sense that either one of these teams are defensively minded, and it's just going to have to be a shootout. And it's probably going to be one turnover that makes the difference. And I think that's going to fall Rutgers' way.
And I don't know and can't remember a time where I thought to myself, I'm going to be interested in Indiana Rutgers.
Football.
That I might actually,
from a basketball standpoint.
Good, yeah. But as far as college football, am I actually going to click back and forth between games and making sure that one of those that I click on is Indiana Rutgers? I did not think that before, but next week I think I will.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's a 2:30 game, and the other 2:30 game of mention would probably be Wisconsin, Nebraska. I'm guessing you're not going to be clicking in on Iowa, Northwestern.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I will just to see what's going on. But again, every time I turn on Iowa, basketball or football, and they're losing, the longer I watch it, the more they come back.
Right.
So I can't watch it very long.
Okay. So yeah, Iowa Northwestern at 2:30 on ESPN.
Probably a bounce back for Iowa.
I think so. I think you're probably looking at about a 24-10 game. I think somewhere in that range.
You think
maybe
Northwestern can only score 10?
They only scored 3 against Maryland, so yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, that's the other way around.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Northwestern scored 40 some.
Oh shit, that's right.
So you think they can only score 10 against Iowa?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm sticking with. Maybe Iowa doesn't score 24 though. Maybe it's just 20 to 10.
Maybe it's 10-7.
6-4 Iowa Penn State.
3-2. I think Iowa will bounce back, but I don't think it'll be more than a 1-score game.
Yeah, you're
I think
probably right.
Offense is not that bad.
Mentioned it, Wisconsin, Nebraska, 2:30 FS1.
Wisconsin rolls.
Scores at will. I agree. And then what could have potentially been the Big Ten game of the year until Penn State lost last week, Ohio State, Penn State.
Ohio State by 3 touchdowns, probably. God, they look good. Justin Fields looks so good.
But he only had one incompletion all day, or did he end up having another one?
No, he had one.
Yeah.
Because they were making fun of the kid from Wisconsin who has, it's his first game, and he's unbelievable. Throws 5 touchdowns, throws like 2 incompletions, and they're making fun of him like this kid's sitting at home now after Justin Fields is done, saying, well, what the hell do I have to do to be the Big Ten player of the week? But then you got Justin Fields comes in and just
right.
Yeah, that kid's going to be, you know what? It's unfortunate that the Patriots got Cam Newton and they're going to lock him into a contract because drafting Justin Fields. I wanted Jalen Hurts, and I think Jalen Hurts is in the same mode as as Justin Fields. And so I don't think the Patriots will draft Justin Fields now that they've got Cam Newton, which I think is sad.
I still think you're missing the boat on Cam. I don't think they're going to lock him in. I really don't.
Well, the way he's played so far this year, I mean, when you score 12 against Denver,
mm-hmm.
and you've got a full Cam Newton plays a full game.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't not like he was out. You can only score 12 against Denver.
So whose point are you making, yours or mine? I guess I don't know where you're at here.
I think we're making both. I think I'm making the point that you're correct. They're not going to lock him up. I'm making the point that I don't think he was a good fit for New England. So I think we both made the point.
Okay.
I made my point and I made your point.
Perfect. I like when you do that.
Yes. That's what I'm here for, to make your point.
So did you see that there are already 4, and this should make you happy, there are already 4 bowl games that have canceled for this year?
I did not see that.
Yeah.
And
one of them is the Holiday Bowl, so it affects the Big Ten.
So be it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, going 4-4 in the Big Ten may not be enough this year. You may need to.
Yeah. You may have to be 5-3. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know how they're gonna do it, how they're gonna look at it. I don't know what they're gonna do, but the less bowls, the better.
I guess I just don't understand that. I love bowl season. For me, it's akin to Christmas morning. I always try to save a week's vacation for the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I like you just got to saying, roll out of bed and watch a game that I never thought to watch. A, B, they're games that they're 2 teams that you know nothing about, but you can go watch them, and it's kind of fun to watch. So that's the way I always felt about it.
So you equate bowl season to open up presents on Christmas morning. Okay.
Yes.
So would you then say if you're watching the Jimmy Scalabrini Pizza Joint Bowl featuring Alameda County versus St. Louis Obispo, would that be the equivalent of getting a coal in your stocking? Is that?
Well, the
what
beauty,
kind of present is
the beauty of the bowl season is that I can pick
you can pick and choose which bowls you want to watch.
Right. And so the Jimmy
Scalabrini's Pizza
Joint Bowl with Alameda County and San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
I probably will not be rolling out of bed to check that one out.
So that's the present that you just leave under the tree and say that. The wrapping on that present just doesn't look right.
Doesn't appeal to me. So
I'm not putting that one. I get that. My problem with bowl games is that's what you get to brag about if you're 6-6. Well, we went to a bowl game. That's what a coach gets. Well, this coach has taken them to 5 bowl games. Yeah, but they're 6-6 every year. So what good does that do? Dan McCarney lost his job because he was never going to make his team better. Tony Dungy lost his job because he was never going to make his team better. I just don't like the way that they equate bowl games to head coaches and fandom saying, well, we've gone to all these bowls. So,
But I think that's a bit of the what they call the I've heard it referred to as the spin DMC. Dan McCarney always, well, yeah, we lost that game by 3 touchdowns, but we outscored them in the second half by 1 point. Well,
that's
what does that
dumb
mean,
shit.
Dan?
That's just being a dumb fan.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there are a lot of fans. Oh yeah, we won. If we hadn't turned the ball over 10 times, we would have beat them.
But that's not the fans. That was Dan saying that. Dan would, in his press conferences, he would say something to the effect of, yeah, we lost by 3 touchdowns, but we won the second half by 1 point.
Well, and so then the fans would jump on that and also say,
right.
So,
right. And the same thing for bowl games. Well, yeah, he's been to 6 consecutive bowls. And it's to the point of, like, they start saying Iowa has been to X amount of January 1 bowl games. Well, okay, January 1 bowl games back in the 80s really, really meant something. January bowl games in the 2000s, not as impressive because there's a ton more January bowl games that really didn't mean anything, but yet it's a holiday bowl game or January 1 bowl game. So me as a fan, I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. But bowls, I guess to me, if an industry or a company wants to spend the money to have 2 teams come out to the desert in Arizona and play on December 30th and bring fans to that area, what does it hurt? It is what it is. And if the fans are gonna allow themselves to fall into this trap of our 8-4 team has been to 5 bowl games every last 5 years, and we're 8-4 is our best record in that time frame, you're fooling yourself. Yeah, you went to a bowl game, but what does that really mean? Were you in contention for the CFP? Did you ever make it to a conference championship game? Are you in that vein? No. Okay, well, all you really did was play another game. Why are you shooting a rubber band at me?
Shoot a rubber band at your face because I've never done it before. This way it's safe.
It is pretty safe. I feel like I was rambling on when you started doing that. Like, cut his mic off.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes, and then I'm keeping you muted for the 2 minutes. No, I get what you're saying. You're a fan. You're a fan of the Bulls. I'm not a fan of the Bulls. That's why we work well.
That's exactly right.
Because we don't agree
on all things. We seem to agree pretty well on the Big Ten Week 2 schedule.
Yeah. No, we didn't go on the Week 1. All right. Yeah. I think
what do you got coming up this week when you're out on your vacation? Just gonna relax, chill out?
Gonna see some things I've never seen before. I don't know what those are. I've just been told I'm gonna see some things I've not seen before.
Awesome. That sounds like fun. I like seeing things that I've never seen before.
Yeah. I can tell you just one quick thing. The area of the country that I'm in, when you go to order breakfast, they don't have anything such as just a straight up sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich.
Really?
You have to have them in tomato basil wrap, and they're paninis and all these different. So it's a very, very bougie, fancy, elite.
Look at you on the come up.
Yeah, I feel like I'm Jethro Bodine out here, and that's a dated reference for a lot.
It is. Good luck with that, kids.
Yeah, I could have went with the Jed Clampett, but Jethro was even more.
Yes, even more so.
Yeah. So, no, that's just gonna chill out and relax. No alarm goes off for an entire week, which is gonna be nice.
Very, very nice.
And be back to the grind of life as it is. What about you? What you got?
I have to start preparing for the high school bowling season this week. I have to coordinate my parent meeting and start getting that all rounded up and ready to go. So that's when I'm not working, I'll be probably sitting here in front of my desk, in front of my computers, trying to get all that finalized and coordinated. And it's coming up quick.
Are you meeting with the parents over Zoom?
So the offer was that I could schedule a time to go to the Roundhouse here in Marshalltown and social
Yeah,
distance
you could do
with.
that. You could. That place is big enough. You can sit.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I haven't had much success with parent turnout, and so maybe doing a Zoom meeting might be more accessible for them. I'm going to almost demand 100% attendance to this turn because I have to meet the parents. They have to know who I am and what I'm talking about and how. When I tell you I'm accessible, you can get a hold of me, but I need to also have your contact information as well. So, and in the past I haven't had that. So I need to figure out which way is the best way to do that. But yeah, this afternoon I have my Wilder Not podcast with my boss. I shouldn't air quote that, but he is. I mean,
We won't tell him that you air quoted that my boss.
Well, I mean, we're supposed to maybe work alongside each other, but I do have to answer to him at the end of the day. So, but the athletic director of Marshalltown High School, he'll be on my podcast, and we'll talk about some of those things and how the fall sports went and that type of thing. So,
speaking of Wilder and Out, did you sit down with your kids last Sunday?
I did. I need to get that podcast out. Probably.
No, I was disappointed on Thursday when it wasn't out. I've listened to all of them, but this is probably the one I was most excited to hear you guys all together.
I think that I'm probably going to get that finished up today and get it up. You'll be fine. You will. No. You're on vacation. You'll be fine. Don't stress about it.
Well, it was something I thought, well, maybe I could listen to while I was on vacation, but no, that's fine.
Yeah, you have a plane ride home.
Well, that's true. I could listen to it there.
Yeah. Settle down there, Mr. Grigo. Love you, if you will.
Yes. All right. Poor Till Wilder.
Poor Till Wilder. Okay.
All right. So I think that's a good time. We got in what we needed to get in.
Perfect. I love it. I think it was a great conversation. Like I said, we're going to get this video up on YouTube. I'm going to I may have to reach out to you to ask some questions about how to maybe edit the video portion of this down, but we'll work on that and get that up on our YouTube channel. Instagram and Twitter at PresentCo Inc. Present Company Included Podcast on Facebook. Email is presentcoinc@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. If you like this format, maybe we do some more of these, maybe not. I really enjoy having you in studio, but I don't mind doing this either. So,
well, that's the situation that we're in. I was not able to be in the studio, and I do want to apologize ahead of time for those who do watch this on YouTube. Yes, this is where I look.
You sexy.
This is how I look. I apologize. You might have to, don't adjust your television set or your computer or whatever you watch this on, your tablet or your phone. This is how I look.
This is how it is. Well, it is what it is, and they'll either accept it for what it is or not. So it's on them.
Yep. All right. So appreciate it, my man, and hope you have a great week. Hope everyone else out there has a great week. Stay very safe. Stay very healthy. Wear your masks. And as always, we only have a few more days left.
Yep.
But vote.
Do get out there and vote. If you haven't already, please do. And Chris, you be safe out there. Take care. Love you, man. Be safe.
All right. Love you, brother.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.